Today on Arrows in Motion, we've got Jon Brunts, owner of Altered State Comics and Matterhorn Stitchworks. We're talking about finding your own path and career, sandwiches, and the value of being a glue guy.
I feel like I've told you this, but there's part of me that almost feels like I was robbed of a certain experience because we have twins and like one had a cleft lip. It was this whole high risk pregnancy where they did a forced scheduled C-section like 2.5 weeks before the due date. So there was never pack the emergency bag and how long is it going to take? It was like, no, it was just like we had an appointment to have a kid. Two kids. Like we just showed up and they were just like, cool, go in here. And then like an hour later we came, I was like, oh, I've just got babies. All right.
It sounds so much better doing it that way. Like the anticipation is devastating. It's just like there's no fun, chill way to do it.
Yeah, like it just is very high stakes roulette.
It's just like I've got a big exam or like a big meeting coming up, and the like lead up to it is always worse than like the thing.
For sure.
And all of like the gals around are all just it's happening. This week, Scott, it's happening. You're gonna be and just like the vibes are just so there's a storm of brewing.
Oh yeah. That's such a tough thing with like everybody in your life, even though 99% of them are incredibly well intentioned. Even like any sort of conversation about it's like, I don't need this right now.
No, it's just like I'm just trying to look at like data or something or like write an email.
I'm just trying to crunch the numbers.
Yeah, like quit making me think of generational pain like right now. Just like let's just do the marketing, please. Do what I've already agreed to. All right, speaking of identity crises or crisi,
let's go with that.
So
I'm good at those.
Something I think about a lot, and especially with you because you do so many things, is like our parents' generation, the first time that you met another adult, the first question is like, what do you do for a living? And the answer was usually simple. It was like, this is the job that I do. I've been at this place for this long. That's my line of work. And I don't find that as the like ubiquitous conversation starter now with anyone. What the hell do you say when someone says, what do you do for a living? God,
that's a really complicated answer that I think 90% of the time, just to like make life easier. So like, oh, I'm a graphic designer. Oh, I own a comic book store. Like I try to make it very straightforward because, you know, like I spent a good clip of my life, almost 10 years as a high school teacher. And that was one of those old school, like easy answers. Like, cool, I can do that. And then as soon as I broke away from that mold, I also just like have a real problem that I can't stop chasing the shiny thing out of my eye. So it's like, what do I do for a living? I don't know. How much time do you have, man?
Yeah.
Like, how deep into my neurosis and trauma do you want to get? Because I can go for 2 hours to try to give you an answer.
It's a scary thought. So you college, high school teacher, left that for a business job, and then things really splintered out.
Yeah. So it was like I first went to college for graphic design, and then while I was doing that, I was running a screen printing and embroidery shop. I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is like my logical life. And then I did I had to do a volunteer thing, setting up an art program for a school for autistic learners. And like super fell in love with it. So I was like, oh, cool. Let me just blow up my life and get a teaching degree.
Why
on top
did
of
you
this.
fall in love with that?
It was it was a lot of fun. So like I went to school, I took another 3 years to turn my art degree into a teaching degree. So it was like already from the jump, it was like, oh, I'm going to behave recklessly with my profession for eternity. But it was like, cool, I'm a graphic designer, but I'm also a printmaker and I like doing screen printing. I like playing music. And then become a teacher. And then like teaching doesn't necessarily pay the bills great. So it's like, well, I can freelance this. I can still screen print. I can still do that. And then when I started working, I left teaching with the mindset of like, I wanted to open this comic book store. That was the dream since I was a kid. I was like, all right, well, if I leave teaching, I can cash out my retirement I can invest that in print media in 2021 because that's a genius move. Can't miss. And then I got this design job at a marketing agency that like also ended up requiring all of the different things that I had picked up over the years of building stuff or of running events or of screen printing and like it all just kind of snowballed. And then I had to start 2 more businesses out of that because why wouldn't I? And, you know,
the big E word that you hear, entrepreneur, like, do you think of yourself as an entrepreneur or
not
do you
even
care?
a little bit? Like, it's such a weird thing that like,
It feels like a loaded word now.
yeah. And I feel like I don't know what Merriam-Webster's will tell you entrepreneur means, but it, like in my head, an entrepreneur is like a person who buys and sells businesses and runs them from a spreadsheet and has martinis at lunch. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I opened a comic book store because I wanted to work at a comic book store. So it's like, no, I'm just a comic shop guy. I just happen to also own it with one of my really good friends. And the same thing like with the t-shirt company. I really like the practice of screen printing. I actively like doing it. Working in a print shop isn't going to ultimately turn into paying the bills for me, but like owning one might. Okay, I guess that's what I'll do. So I just like consider myself a really low paid employee. I have the low salary of my job while also maintaining all of the risk that if it falls apart, I just also have to pay back whatever debts that is. So
well, that would never happen.
No, can't think of a time that happened.
So like, do you feel comfortable in this kind of hectic, do a little bit of everything? Or is it something that is short circuiting?
Yes. Like, I think in my, like, I'm definitely, you know me, I'm definitely short circuiting most of the time. And I've also kind of like built this story in my head of like, as soon as I accomplish A, B, or C, I can like calm down. But then every time I find myself in a calm situation, I just like, I'm not good at it. Like, I'm just like, I'm actually pretty good at being in chaos. And I don't know that that's a good thing, but that is a skill that I have. And I have to just kind of acknowledge it and ride with it. Like, that's the hand I was dealt. Mayhem. Cool.
Well, I mean, I guess your brain is just going to look for trauma, even if none exists.
For sure. And I think most of my trauma is all manufactured anyway.
Well, you're one of the greatest manufacturers I've ever seen.
As good as they come.
Week to week, I know like you work a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
You have multiple businesses. You are a father, husband. You do favors for friends. You are a freelancer. You do a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
What does the time split look like for you?
Everything all at once, I think. Like, I think it just like goes day by day. Like I said, like I'm doing a lot of like right now I'm picking up kind of contract work for a few different people and doing a number of different gigs Monday through Friday. So it's like I just kind of split that up based on what I have time for on a given day. And then I'm also trying to get out to the comic shop 2 or 3 times a week. And you know, with the shirts, you know, we run pretty much strictly e-com. So like as orders come in, I'm making stuff to order. So I'm probably spending an hour to an hour and a half printing shirts every night or hats and then putting the kids to bed and then doing some design work and then getting up and getting them off to school. And then like, I don't know. I don't care to have a system, I guess.
Yes.
Like, I think that's the big thing right now is I feel like every time I'm on Instagram, someone's trying to tell me like how to systemize my life. I'm just like, not interested.
That's the thing that I think is so fun and interesting with you is because like you're bucking all of the Instagram norms of like go all in, focus on one thing, structure your life, optimize everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just kind of like doing what you feel like doing.
Yeah.
And it takes like some cojones to do that.
It's funny because I almost like, I appreciate you saying that, but I also kind of feel like it's almost the coward's way out for me half the time. It's like, no, I just don't want to. I don't have any interest in engaging in things that I don't want to do. So it's just like, I would rather do the things that I want to do, even though it means I'm going to have less money or have less on paper success or have less of an ability to answer the question of what do you do? Like, I'm going to sacrifice those things that I think a lot of people want to have.
Yeah.
To be like, no, I want to sit and read comic books and play pretend. I want to watch wrestling with my friends. I want to make silly shirts and I want to goof around with my kids during the day.
That's the other thing that I think is fascinating. Like you have this job and then you have these businesses, and it's not like you have a graphic design job and then you do graphic design on the side. You have a job that has a lot of different responsibilities. One of your businesses is brick and mortar retail.
Mm-hmm.
One of your businesses is e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
The way that you market those businesses and work in those businesses is completely different. They're
Yeah.
all totally unique.
Mm-hmm.
How does your brain handle all of the context switching? Or is it just like how you're wired that you love that and you're powered by that?
I think part of it is that I do really love it. Like I have that ADD of like, I can't sit and look at the same thing on a screen for an extended period of time. Like I can do one project for a super long time if it has me like building a thing or physically doing something. But when I'm doing stuff for my businesses, like I said, whether it's e-com or brick and mortar, where I think it helps me is that neither one is particularly on paper super duper successful. So what that means is like I kind of get to run a full strategy for what one successful business would do, but I only do half for each brand.
That's really funny.
So it's like it kind of is doing the same thing with different stuff. Like, you know, we've spent a lot of time in the digital marketing space, right? So like email, social, web stuff, super important for any business. Infinitely more important for an e-com business, right? So it's like I'll do all that. Now with the comic shop, I don't do any digital marketing. Not because I don't think it's valuable, but because like I think the things that I do, like we have a super tight budget. So like we don't live in a world in which I can have a respectable enough ad spend to make a difference or a leash to do just like general awareness stuff.
Yeah.
Right. If I'm going to spend money there because we're spending money on rent, it's like, I've got to use that. I've got to instead go buy 1,000 custom pencils and give them to all of the middle schools and high schools around me, knowing that, you know, doofuses like me will be in their art class chewing on their pencil and see where it is and hopefully show up.
I mean, that's genius. What is the process? Like, did you buy these Altered State Comics pencils and go to the schools physically, or are you calling them? How did you get them into the school's hands?
Because every school has a teacher's directory. So I am just shipping packages to every art teacher.
Oh, because
with a note because I did that. It was like, hey, this is what I did. And I know from when I used to make custom pencils for my classes. Like, so side note, when I was a kid, you may have heard me say this. When I was a kid, up until still today, every time I leave my house, my mother says, be good, have fun, remember your manners. That is the last thing I hear leaving my parents' house still to this day. It is burned in my brain. When I was teaching, I said that at the end of every class. That was how I sent kids away.
it's really cute.
So I always made pencils that had that. Side note, I also had a student that had that tattooed on her arm, which was pretty sick. Whoa. It was pretty cool. But beside the point. So I used to make these pencils because kids never brought pencils to class. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I can make pencils that do that. So it's just kind of like in my brain as a thing that I would do as a teacher. And I was like, oh, well, how do I turn that into a thing that might help my business, but will definitely help some stoned 17-year-old that forgot his pencil? Like, the worst case scenario there is a kid has a pencil in his art class. Sick.
That's a great idea. Have you done stuff like that before, or is this the first year?
No, we've done stuff like that. We'll send like old comics to the libraries at the high schools, just like trying to get kids to show up, or we'll go do pop-up things at like the local homecoming events or with the local wrestling promotion. Like that's the stuff from a marketing perspective that we can do for the comic shop, because it is lower investment than a recurring ad spend, right? It's a lower lift, and it is a more immediate response of getting in front of people that are like me. And I think like when I think about marketing for either of the businesses, whether it's being Brandon at Altered State or me and Garrett with Matterhorn, like I very deliberately built two businesses that I would be the customer for.
Yeah.
Because like I know how to market to me. And I think when you start thinking about like social strategy and digital strategy, a lot of that is about like scaling and going beyond that. And it's like, we're just not in a place where we're even ready to consider that. And I think that's a thing that a lot of people try to do too soon. It's like, oh, how do I replicate this over A, B, and C demographics? It's like, no, I just need all of the me's first. If I get all of the me's just by doing stuff that I like, that'll be enough to keep the lights on. That'll be enough to probably have a little, extra change in the till. And then maybe we can talk about how to talk to someone else, or maybe not. Maybe that's enough people that like, cool, I have enough nerds that want to come sit and goof around with me and Brandon and talk about comics or talk about wrestling or, talk about Disney parks with me and Garrett. Sweet. That's enough.
I mean, sometimes the lowest hanging fruit is just as delicious as what's at the top of the tree.
It's the sweetest plum.
It can be. Mm-hmm. So do you think, how well of like a sense do you have that this traditional stuff works? Like, do you think that people come in from doing that, or do you even care?
I do think people come in from doing it because I keep doing it. I also think, as anything works as well as the story you can tell that it works. So I think it works because when I'm sitting at the comic shop, someone will come in and be like, oh, I saw the Ethan Page vlog. I wanted to come in and hang out. Oh, I heard about you at the Glory Pro show. Oh, we were at the Baldwin homecoming and my son grabbed some Pokemon cards. We came back to get some more. So like, yes, I'll hear that, but it's super anecdotal, like, does it work? At least to some degree. Does it work at the point that it's worth the dollars? For sure, because I'm spending very little dollars on it.
Well, yeah, and also those types of people are going to tell people about the experience. It's
right.
Just such a luxury to be the person at the shop hearing from the customers how they got there.
Well, and it's just like, again, with building these kind of niche businesses, I have a business that like the type of people that shop at are going to go search for.
Yeah.
Like we have people that help us with local SEO. With the comic shop, because again, like I need everybody that's looking for comic books in St. Louis to know I exist. While that is a small target, like that's super important that we're there. But we have a thing that people don't stumble into. It's not like Target where everybody can find something they want at Target. Like you come to a comic book store, you're probably a very specific type of person. You probably want to look for comics online somewhere.
Yes, correct.
But you're not going to like stumble upon at scale. You're not going to stumble upon an ad and be like, ooh, maybe I'll be a comic book reader.
Is there foot traffic? I know you're in a strip center. Like, are there people that come in and are waiting for Domino's or something and just mosey over and buy stuff?
So we get people waiting for their Domino's. So I love when Domino's doesn't have enough employees. That's super sick Very helpful. Don't hire more. We also are really lucky to be in a plaza with a big, the DMV. So like people are waiting in lines outside. There's a lot of parents that are killing time while their kids are taking the driving test, or kids that are killing time while their siblings are taking the driver's test, or kids that are practicing in that parking lot because that's where they have to do their parallel parking and they see us. So like we definitely get some lift from that. Not as much as I think you would have in years past, like doing anything brick and mortar. Like think about when we were kids, plazas just like were full of kids acting a fool. And that's just kind of like not the case as much anymore, but we get a little bit of something.
Question. If someone gave you a $20,000 gift certificate for marketing, you had to spend $20,000 before the end of 2026 on marketing for Altered State Comics, what do you think you would do?
That's an awesome question.
Thanks. I am supposed to ask some.
You are good at that. I think I would do heavier sponsorship at events that like our customers would be at. So it's like obviously the Glory Pro Wrestling shows we would get back on. Raw is coming to St. Louis October 5th. I'd be spending some money on getting on those urinal screens on that night. I also would be getting on the Galaxy Con, a huge Comic-Con that's coming to St. Louis in October. So like I think my first dollars would be going to those big events that I know are going to have my people locally at.
As the marketer's mindset starts with where the people are.
Yeah. And like, again, I think for the type of people that are our customers, they're people that want to go out and do stuff. Like if I can find those people if I can find those people IRL, they might come to my store. I would also spend money on social. I think that's super valuable. But I just think it's a little more of a long-term play and an awareness play for us. And it's like, I don't even think we're big enough to be thinking like that.
Why is it that I've always wondered, like, I'm not in the scene in the same way, like the extreme example is like skateboarding is like a niche hobby and you really like outside. It's very obvious if you're an outsider, they hang out at the same spaces. They go to skate shops. Like I've never been cool enough, but I've heard of them. Like comic book, wrestling, horror, anime, like these groups overlap so strongly. But they're not the same. Like I don't see wrestling and comic books as
a unified
fandom. But why are they? And why are they so more like apt to go to live events than other interest categories?
So I will only speak for my experience, right? Because those are worlds that I felt like me and Brandon opened the store because we were part of that community. So I can speak to like, for me, whether it was wrestling, comic books, punk rock, I played in bands a bunch, skateboarding, all of those things are spaces that like you can kind of be anything and be accepted in it. Like there's so much less organization around it. You don't have like, if you're playing any sort of organized sport, well, you have to know how to do it and get good at it. And you have to get good at it the way the coach wants you to. And there is a lot of value in that, right? I'm not like knocking that kind of lifestyle by any means, but there are a lot of us who's just like, I don't know, man. Like I don't get good at things that way. I get hyper specific on very weird things. And I like being able to jump from place to place. I like being around a lot of people that are very different from me. And I think all of those scenes have that in common. Like you'll come from wildly different parts of town and wildly different home experiences or friend experiences or name whatever demographic niche you can, you'll find a melting pot of that in the comic book scene, in the punk rock scene, in the skateboarding scene, in the horror scene. So it was just like going to a place that I knew everybody else was figuring it out and no one acted like they had it figured out was what brought me there. And I think you only get that when you're in person with people, it's like, I don't care as much about, I'm not going to buy a bunch of comics digitally online and sit on a tablet and read them. Like, no, I want to go into the store. I want to talk to the other people that are reading them. And I want to be like, oh man, I really like this and saw that. What did you think about it? Like that sense of community is what I think makes that scene work so well. I don't know. That felt kind of like a rambly answer.
No, it was like actually really good. Like my takeaway from it is that a lot of hobbies are high gatekeeping where you have to check boxes before you're accepted by the community in terms of like a skill level, a gear set, a look, an attitude. And the places that you're describing are you're in the community just by nature of being interested in it.
Right.
Like you're accepted in the
That's
community at a comic book shop because you're interested in comics or because you walk to a skate park and you're in because you have a skateboard or are interested in skateboarding.
Right. And like there are turds in any scene who are going to be gatekeepy and are going to say like, I was here first, or I did this, or you're not doing it my way, or you don't have the right jacket on, or, things like that. But like by and large, I don't see that in person in the scenes that I've been in. Like, yes, there's the occasional asshole, but way more often than not, like you go by Jefferson Barracks Park and you go by the skate park, you're going to see like the gnarliest looking dudes you've ever seen in your life helping a 5-year-old girl on her first skateboard while her mom's sitting aside and like helping her do it. And like, that's what that scene was for me. That's like where I always, when I would play in bands, like, it was like, it was such an incestuous scene. Like all you did was go to a show. And when you're at a show, you're going to meet someone else who plays a thing or wants to do a thing with you. And before you know it, like you're playing with 5 different dudes.
That's funny. I'm just having like oh man, I'm such a stupid asshole kind of thought. So, I like play golf a lot, still terrible, but I'll go and play a lot earlier than some of my friends. So I'll go and play like a solo round at 6 a.m. You'll get paired with another person. And it's sometimes the coolest social thing that you'll be with this person for 4 hours. And even if they're the coolest guy in the world, you don't know anything about them. You don't learn their last name. You don't talk about work. You're not getting their number at the end. You just like are 2 people, sometimes 4 golfing.
Right.
And you're just having that experience. You talk about the thing that you like together, have a great time, and you're done.
There are 40 people on a pull list at Altered State that I could tell you their name when they walk in. I could tell you everything about what they read and what they enjoy reading and how we've found common ties. I couldn't tell you if any of them are married. I could only tell you any if they have kids, if the kids have walked in with them. Like you just don't know.
I was thinking like, oh, this is such a unicorn situation. It's like, no, it's not. It is just you don't have any interests. It's just like all you do is like make needlessly elaborate dishes in your kitchen by yourself, go to work, and then play golf. What's your favorite sandwich in St. Louis?
Favorite sandwich shop or favorite individual sandwich?
I'm gonna go with favorite individual sandwich and why.
My favorite individual sandwich is the Goodfella Hot from Nowhere in Jefferson County. That also was at Good Buddies downtown.
Sell it a little bit. Why?
It is, first of all, top-notch ingredients, fantastic bread. It's all the things you want, but it's a super... it is a traditional Italian, what you would want out of an Italian, but served hot on cheese garlic bread with a little bit of, they default it with a cherry pepper relish.
Nice.
That is pretty dynamite. The bread is toasted just so perfectly that it's crisp on the outside, but still soft on the inside. It's a great cold sandwich too, if you're in the mood for it. But hot on cheese garlic bread, untouchable.
Do you think it's ever okay to put mayonnaise on an Italian sandwich?
No. No.
Okay.
I'm not interested in that.
I did at Jersey Mike's, and it was just even the guy makes
It's an absurd move.
It's just like, this is too sloppy,
It's an
sir.
insane move. You got the oil and vinegar is all you need.
Okay, heard chef.
But if we're going now, if we're going sandwich spot, like if I'm like going sandwiching,
Yeah.
it's real tough neck and neck between Gramophone and still Blue City Deli. Like Blue City Deli there's 5 sandwiches on that menu that on the right day could be my favorite sandwich in St. Louis. Like it's so rock solid.
It's up there.
Yeah. Like, and I know it's kind of the cliche answer, and maybe it's not even that hip of an answer anymore because it's been around for so long, but like it holds up. It's still the champ.
I've never had the Italian from Blue City.
I mean, I'm usually going to get the muffalata. I might get the French dip. Like, I might get the Vito. Like, God,
I had
why'd you have to do that
Taylor
around dinner time?
She had a craving on Sunday for sandwiches, wanted to go to the Gramophone. Obsessed with her mac and cheese with the
Red Hot Riplets, of course.
Yeah, I got a half
Because she has good taste.
It was interesting. I got a half yogi, like it's their sort of Italian, like not heavy on the meat. It was a huge half, and it had a black pepper mayo on it.
Ooh,
that I thought was fascinating.
I like that.
Anyway, back from that. So Matterhorn is e-com. Strictly e-com.
Strictly e-com.
Went through all of the brick and mortar marketing stuff. Not a lot of things that we would typically do as an agency. What you're talking about is more effective, if smart traditional stuff. You're, I assume, all Meta ads or TikTok ads or whatever.
All Meta. We have gone, like we've talked ad nauseum about TikTok ads. See what you did there.
Yeah.
About TikTok ads. And I think it's probably a super smart thing that we need to do. However, kind of like I was saying earlier, I know this narrows my reach in things, but like I only want to do stuff that I understand and that I behave as.
Yeah.
Again, if and when we are fortunate enough to grow to a place that I've exhausted that, then great. Let's do the other things that we have to do. But like, I know that if you show me a thing that I think is cool that I can buy online for under $50 on Instagram, I'm going to buy it if that money's in my bank account. So that's how I'm going to run ads. I'm running them strictly to people like me who are going to behave the way I will.
Like, there's a little bit more complication to it, but not by a lot. It's pretty much like money out, money in, and hopefully you spent less money than you made.
Yeah.
How do you manage that type of outfit mentally compared to the other one where it's not even close to that?
Can you ask that in a different way?
The entire business model of Matterhorn Stitchworks is you make t-shirts, you spend money to drive traffic to show people those t-shirts, and you hope they spend 5 times more than it costs you to get that customer.
Right.
The whole thing is a math game.
Yep.
Is you try to do great designs, you try to do compelling ads, you spend money on the ads, and you hope you make money. Totally different business, totally different mental model.
For sure.
From Altered State, that's like you try to be good people, you try to give a great experience, you do some awareness stuff here, and then you hope at the end of the month that your overhead was less than your margin on the goods you sold.
For sure.
How do you manage those two things in your brain?
This is where I think the thing that I have done most successfully as a business owner is have partners with varying skill sets. You know, like me and Brandon at Altered State are really aligned and similar in a lot of ways when it comes to like how we would run a business, but we are both like kind of the exact target customer of that business. He's also 10 years older than me. So like we can kind of come at it from a bit of a generation gap, which fills those holes. Then on the Matterhorn side, like partnering with Garrett, who is a friend of ours. Like, he is such a like smart numbers data look at the business and kind of, you know, move pieces around in a way that like I'm just incapable of thinking. I am so much like, no, I want to make the thing that looks cool. Can I show it to people? Great. So it's like I think a little bit less about it. Like, I know from the ad side there, I'm really just like, I'm the designer. You know, it's like I will make the ads that I think would convert someone like me, and Garrett does the big brain stuff of finding the people like me and doing the math on what's the right amount to spend to find those people and where. And then like once a month I'll look at numbers with him and I'll say some harebrained thing that like I think makes sense, and he'll be like, yeah.
It's like, why don't you grab us some lemonade?
No, he's like, yeah, it's a good idea. He's always very complimentary, but then probably just does the smarter thing because that's his skill set. You know, like we, and I think that's super important in that like we are both, again, whether I'm talking about me and Brandon or me and Garrett, we are both the absolute target market for our product. So if we can bring slightly different skill sets into that, like finding people that you can do stuff with that you can carry the weight with, so you don't have to think about the stuff. Like, I don't know, in my head, half the time, like Matterhorn and Altered State are kind of the same thing. You know, it's like I'm just making things that I think look cool. It's just a different logo.
So what do you think of yourself as? A maker, a craftsman, or do you not?
I try to not think of myself at all.
I don't think of myself at all.
No, I think I almost kind of think of it more of as like just like a what a tradesperson could look like in 2026. Like, I don't know. It's super utilitarian. I think, you know, when I was coming up and was playing music and was first learning to be a designer, like I was just like, oh, I'm an artist, you know, like I'm telling stories and creating this and that. And then it was like, as I got older, I got so much more comfortable and excited by the idea of like, I'm not an artist and I'm not saying anything like new or interesting. I am creating a bunch of stuff that I think is cool for right now. You know, it's like whether it be on the ad side or on like what we make. I kind of think of it like, again, my weird tangents, like comic books were super fascinating to me as a kid because like I could afford them because they were like $1 at the comic shop near me, and I could throw them in my backpack or I could roll them up, stick in my back pocket and ride my bike or my skateboard home, and I could read it 5 or 10 times, and then I could put paper over it and I could trace things that I thought were cool, and then I could trade them with my friends. And like the nature of it being a thing that you can use in 4 different ways and have fun with, and like isn't disposable, but also isn't meant to be a museum piece. Like, it's art. It's absolutely art and storytelling, but it serves a purpose, and it only works when it serves that purpose. And like, so I think about the things that I make kind of the way I think about comic books, like whether I'm playing music with my friends or making designs for shirts or
building a custom bookshelf in your house.
Right. It's like, this is a thing that I want people to use and I want to use, and it'll probably get used up. You know, like I'm not making a thing that I want to last forever. I'm making a thing that I want to be something that gives people some joy for right now and then moves on. So like, is that a tradesperson? Is that a maker? Is that an art? I don't know.
I'll challenge you every time you say anything, you're talking about something for someone else to enjoy and to.
Yeah.
So you're just trying to make other people have great experiences with things that you've done.
I think I am trying to. I think if I ever had to put it as succinctly as I could, I am trying to do the thing that provides me the most joy, and then share that experience with as many people as I can. Like, I want to be like the anti-gatekeeper. I don't want to be like, hey, I found this thing that I think is cool. You guys shouldn't know about it. I want to be the guy that's like, hey, I think this thing's really rad. I need all of you to come here and have a ton of fun with me. Like, this is going to be such a sick party if you guys are all here with me. So it's just like constantly trying to make experiences or products or propaganda or whatever of like, here's all of the weird stuff that I love. And I think I am not that unique of a person. So I think if you let your guard down, you'll probably think most of this is pretty fun too. And maybe we shouldn't take it so super seriously. Like, I'm not trying to, this isn't high art or whatever. It's like, this is a party. Like, let's just have some fun at the party. Let's have some chip and dip. Let's have a cherry cola. Let's have a good time.
I will say of you, like, you're the only person in my communication circle that I'll receive a text that like I'll have to scroll through that'll be like about a side of potato salad. Like, that you're really enthused by.
Ozzy's Downtown does have a really strong, it's very dill forward, but especially when it's hot out, like, dill is super refreshing.
So is it that you let yourself enjoy minutia and small things more than the average person and you want to tell people about them?
I don't know, because I don't know what the average person enjoys or doesn't.
Well, the average person isn't telling me about dill forward potato salads. I know that for sure.
I know that I have, you know, like, sure, we've all been different people in our lives. I'm sure there were plenty of times in my teens and 20s that I was angstier and shittier and, you know, whatever. But like, I try really hard to be like, man, the world is really cool and there's a ton of real cool stuff in it. And it's a lot more enjoyable if I just enjoy the stuff that's here. You know, it's like I do everything in my power to never, ever, 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 ever be cynical about anything. So it's like, if I can be excited about the dill level of this potato salad, then like the other thing that I don't care that much about doesn't have to weigh me down that much, you know? And it's the same thing. Like, if I can do that with comic books and I can do that with wrestling, it's like, yeah, this stuff all is just kind of a minor miracle that we get to do it. So like, let's have a bunch of fun. Let's enjoy the fact that that's really cool.
Have you always been so comfortable enjoying things so emphatically?
No.
That other people were like, shut up?
God, never, ever. I am incredibly self-conscious, and I just like, I'm pretty good at putting on a character. Like, I think I'm really good at letting myself, I'm trying to think how to say this the right way. I am so self-conscious. And every time I say anything in public or do any of these things that I'm talking about, the second I'm alone, I replay all of that and freak out and think why everyone thinks I'm like loser and super lame. But I know in the act of doing it, when it's not the aftermath, it's really, really fun. And if I can just like, if I can let myself have fun, then my life's going to be better, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it seems like you can let yourself have fun, but you must be punished after.
Right. Well, I'm a good Catholic boy. I know how to take my lashings for having enjoyment in my life.
Harder to follow your own advice sometimes, but if you were to give others, like say a 20-year-old version of Jon Brunts, what would you say to them if they felt like they were living a life that was a little too off script from what they thought that they should be doing? Like, I think as you grow up, especially our generation, you were told like you were supposed to do a thing and do it well and keep doing it. And then good things happen and then you'll have a family and retire and then you'll get a gold watch or something. And that is not how it's working out for many people right now. What would you say to a young person?
the thing that I used to say this to kids when they were graduating high school a lot, and it is only proven more and more true the older I've gotten. So like, regardless of what line of work you're in or want to be in, it is often a lot better to be a person people want to work with than to be right. And I think I've been an incredibly fortunate person professionally in that, like, one, I do take a lot of risks to go chase the things that I love and want to do. But I also have always had a pretty steady flow of other opportunities that other people give me. And it's never been because I'm like following the script or, you know, getting excellent at a thing. It's because I do think I'm pretty easy to work with. And I think, like, in my experience, that matters so much more than just being right, because people don't want to be around assholes. People don't want to be around people they don't like, and people will be way more forgiving of your mistakes if you're like, oh man, sorry, I didn't really know how to do that, but that was cool. I figured it out and I won't do it next time. Sweet. So like, that would be the advice I would give to young me or to young anybody. It's just like, hey, be someone people want to work with. And that means different things in any number of different circles.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, I guess, it sounds like being a great teammate is as or more important about as being the best player.
I have never been the 3-hole hitter on any team, professionally or athletically, in my life. But man, show me a Fernando Vina that's going to hit 315 from the 2-hole or the 5-hole, play Gold Glove defense. You want that guy on your team.
That's Moneyball.
That guy plays. That guy plays. And then every now and again, you know, maybe I run into one and everyone's extra excited because it's like, oh man, the guy that never hits one just hit one. Those singles will keep you in the game.
So like, you see yourself as like a glue guy?
For sure. That if there is one skill set I have, it's I'm a vibes guy. I am the definition of culture hire.
I have, like, that has been my observation, and I think there's an extreme importance in roles like that, because especially in like high collaboration environments, I think that some people don't realize the value of that person in culture. Is that something that you felt?
It's weird because I think my perception and my experience are two different things. I think there is a lot of, you know, there's a lot of narrative out there of like, oh, you know, you got to run your business by the spreadsheet, and, you know, the glue guy doesn't show up value on the spreadsheet. So it's like, yeah, that rhetoric is out there. And I think there are a lot of people that run businesses that way. But also, again, from my experience, I've been treated pretty well and had pretty good opportunities my life by being that guy. Yeah. So my experience is the opposite of that, is that like, nope, it is valued. It may not be valued the same way certain other things are. And it may not be as easy to feel that value, but like, I know that I have been valued at places. So like, I think really smart business gurus on Instagram will probably tell you that you don't need a glue guy. Yes. But I think every place that I've worked at has enjoyed having a glue guy and has treated me as such. So like, I gotta feel good about that.
The greatest thing about really smart business people on Instagram is they'll tell you everything. It conflicting, untrue, illogical, not backed in experience at all. Mm-hmm. They'll say it.
Yeah.
And we like saying things.
Who doesn't?
What's next for Jon Brunts?
So
who gives a shit?
Obviously, I don't think anyone does, which is why no one's listening to me right now. No, with Altered State Comics, we're really excited right now. We had a tough 2025, but 2026 is our 5-year anniversary is coming up in October.
Hey.
So like that alone is a huge accomplishment. And like, I know me and Brandon are both like really reinvigorated to put a ton into the store. We're hosting a convention on our 5th anniversary at the Baldwin Golf Club, where we're bringing out a bunch of different vendors, a bunch of artists, a bunch of other comic book people. I have something super secret that I'll tell you about off camera that's really exciting that hopefully I can announce in the near future. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And then Matterhorn is like, we're like the little engine that could, you know, it's like it's 2 dudes that like nerding out about Disney parks with their kids. So me and Garrett and the kids and our wives we're going to Disney World in a few weeks, which is tight, which means I'm then going to make a bunch of new stuff that hopefully people like, because I'm going to sit in it for a little bit. So fall's looking good, you know, hopefully spending a ton more time with my kids and reading infinite comic books. I mean, Avengers Doomsday's coming out, Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's a good time to be alive.
Man, if you're not careful, you might find yourself happy at the end of this year.
I'll find a way to get out of that.
Good. Taken.
Mm-hmm.
Jon Brunts, I love you.
Love you, buddy.
Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Arigato.